In this video, we will discuss the ERP mapping setup of DIY board. If you go to an existing DIY board, for example, in Groupware, DIY board, Sales Management board, if you click New button, you will see various input fields from contract date, salesperson name, and customer, and name of the warehouse where sale items will be released from, and sale items, quantity, and so forth. After entering these fields, when later the sale items are actually delivered, you will enter ERP sales slips. So since you need to enter the same data twice, once in the DIY board and once in inventory sales module, you need to work twice, which is not efficient. So in this case, you can use ERP transmission function at the bottom to convert the posts of DIY board and generate ERP sales slips. In order to do so, you need to first set ERP mappings, which will be discussed soon in this video. And once you have completed the setup, in order to transfer posts, you need to go through ERP transmission task. Select the desired posts and click ERP transmission button at the bottom. And then the selected lines will be converted to ERP sales slips, and the results will be marked in transmission status column. Transmitted for the ones that you converted, and not transmitted for the ones that you did not convert. For setup, go to the desired board and click Option at the top right and click ERP Mapping Setup. Then in the Setup window, map each field of the DIY board input screen with each field of ERP New Sales screen. In ERP Item column on the left, the input fields of New Sales screen will be listed, such as date, transaction type, location out, and so forth. You can select which field of DIY board will be connected with each sales field by using Board Item column. And to learn more, we will first look at New Sales input screen. In Inventory 1, Sales, New Sales menu, you can see input fields such as date, customer, location out, item, quantity, and price. And back in the mapping setup window, you can connect each field of New Sales screen with a DIY board input field. Starting from date, set whether to apply post date or contract date as the sales slip date. And FYI, in location column, you can see the field's location in the input screen, whether it's in New Sales screen top or bottom. Next, in Requirement Status column, if it says required, it means it must be mapped. And in Default Value Status column, you can set whether to set the default value for the field. For example, if you check to use default value today for date field, then even if you mapped contract date as ERP slip date, the slip date will be automatically set to the present date based on the default value setting. And moving on, transaction type field. This field is where you can select taxable or non-taxable of New Sales screen. You can link the field with a code type field of DIY board input screen. So for example, I will connect contract type field and click Mapping Code button to connect each option of the code type field with a transaction type code of New Sales menu. taxable for domestic contracts and non-taxable for international contracts, and so forth. And in the setup window, you can link the other fields such as customer vendor and location out with each corresponding field. And in the far right side, you can see Issued Type column. In this column, you can choose how you will separate DIY board posts when you generate sales slips, which means the criteria of separating sales slips. For example, if you check Date field, then the posts whose contract date is different will be separated and will be turned into separate sales slips. If you check Customer, the posts whose customer is different from each other will be turned into separate sales slips. And after mapping all fields, click Save button. Then, after you create posts in the DIY board, you can select the desired rows and click ERP transmission at the bottom, and then they will be converted to ERP sales slips. And once transmitted, the result will be marked in Transmission Status column.